What's up, Middle Georgia Dog Pound? Welcome to another edition of the Middle Georgia Dog Pound Live. I'm your host, Brian. This is Kevin. Where's Matt?
Don't know, brother. He ditched us this week.
He bailed on us. Matt, we miss you, buddy. Wish you were here to recount the huge win between the hedges against the Auburn Tigers. Very glad to have pulled that one off and took care of business. The dogs had me worried the first half, but come on strong the second half and took care of things in just the way that we like it. Well, guys, I'm so glad to be here. Like I said, a few tidbits, housekeeping tidbits that we always like to cover before we get going on the show. If this is your first time on the show, make sure you go to StreamYard.com/Facebook. Give Facebook permission to show your logo and your name so we know who's commenting on the page. Would love to have your comments on the show and love to hear from you. Additionally, we also have an email. Hit us up at middlegeorgiadogpound@gmail.com. That's middle G-A, dog like it's supposed to be spelled, D-A-W-G, pound@gmail.com. Love to have you on the show, promote your business or your item that you're selling. We've done that a couple times for a couple folks on the show, and we would love to have you on. So let's see. I think we got one comment already tonight. I think that might be Mr. Akaki. Go Dogs. Like I said, we're missing Mr. Matt. So if there's anybody that wants to jump in the show, let me know. We'd love to have you on. I will post the link here in the comments box, and feel free to jump in, and we'll have you on and talk a little football on the show tonight. So let's get into the Auburn recap, Kevin, and let me run them highlights, man.
Let's go.
Georgia and Auburn meeting 2027. They're down there in the noise in front of the student section on the 29. Auburn's going to fake it. They snap it to one of the up men, and we stop it. We stop it at the 36-yard line. We read it. Ball went to Schenker, the tight end, but the Dogs sniffed it out and take over at the 36-yard line. Nolan Smith running and picking his holes wide to the right. He cuts it in. Now the pile gets behind him and drives him inside the 10 down to the 5-yard line. Boy, those linemen love that. A bit of a jumbo package in there to the left. McIntosh in the backfield. Toss it to Kenny Mack. Sweep to the near side. Can he get to the corner? He can! He breaks the tackle at the 1 and got just inside the pylon. Left edge of the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia. Robinson, left edge, 30, 25, 20, with speed and size. Hand it to Dejan, makes one man miss, and gets into the end zone, standing up and dragging a man across the goal line. Dejan Edwards, touchdown, Georgia. Pressure on Ashford, he escaped, but he dropped the ball. Georgia's got it. Boy, he had a lot of room to run, see, but he ran through the hole, as you said, dropped the ball out of his one hand. Zion Logue recovers it for the Dogs. Auburn turns it over. Play fake to McIntosh. Bennett sets up with time, dumps it over to Kenny on the near side, makes one man miss. There he goes down the sideline, 30, 25. Quick snap, Bennett hands it off. McIntosh gets the first down, twists, pulls away from a leg tackle, drives to the 15. Now the pile is moving him down, still going down to the 10-yard line. 8-yard gain up and down the field for Edwards. He's going to get the try to touchdown here. He jitterbugs into the end zone, right behind the lineman. Touchdown!
Boy, huge push right there by Cedric Van Pran, Xavier Truss. Great job by those guys up front. Dogs answer.
Pressure from the edges. Bennett's going to take it and run it. Stetson, 40, 45, 50, 45, 40, 35, 30. Angles to the left, 20, 10. Does he have it? Yeah! Touchdown, Stetson Bennett.
And he took off, and nobody could catch him.
64 yards on the burst. He was looking left and right once he got in the red zone, and none of those guys in white shirts had a chance. Stetson, with the juice, turned it on and scored on the left side of the end zone. Toss sweep to that side. Robinson, 10, 5, 3. Collision, drive into the end zone. Touchdown, freshman Branson Robinson, his first.
Boy, what a run by that young man. As soon as that play was snapped, you could see it develop perfectly.
Final today. Georgia 42, Auburn 10. The Dogs have won 6 straight over the Tigers in the Deep South's oldest rivalry, and they improved to 6-0 in 2022, now 3-0 in the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah, big win there between the hedges for the Dogs. What was your takeaway, Kevin? What impressed you the most about the Dogs' play this week?
Resiliency. That was my key word for that game, resiliency. They started this game very lackluster. Looked like the previous 2 games. It looked like we were in store for another tight game on a game that should end up like what it did with the 42-10 win. They started out, they just terrible coverage. Stetson Bennett wasn't hitting anybody. He's overthrowing balls. Just very, very, sloppy play. It was not the Bulldogs that we expect to see. And I don't know. They came out the second half, and I guess they checked themselves at the door coming back out the second half. And it seemed like that they turned on the run game that we have been wanting to see so desperately wanting to see. Man, Dejon and Branson, them 2 guys, man, they are something special. Freaking awesome to see them guys come through, smash mouth football. That's the old school Georgia junkyard dogs, you might say. That's the football that I like to see. I like to see it when we can just take it and run the ball down people's throats. And that's what Branson did and Dejon did. So, yeah, resiliency is my takeaway in that game, because even the defense, pretty awesome. They never gave up in that either. I mean, where they have 3 points the first half? Yeah. So they never gave up. They still believe in their offense, that they're going to put points on the board, and they keep going out there and doing their job every time they're put on the field. So it's impressive.
Yeah, I kind of felt bad for the Auburn quarterback a little bit. He's only played at Auburn, right, and never played on the road in the SEC, and really never played college football as the starting quarterback ever. And your first road start against the defending national champions at their home stadium, when we've been there when it's rocking, and I'm telling you, I'm sure it was 112 decibels on Saturday, and it's deafening. It will make your ears ring, and I can imagine being in the middle of that field, having to deal with that noise. So the pressure obviously got to him. You saw him cough up that fumble just with nobody hitting him. He just dropped the football, and
well, he knocked it out of his own hand. He kicked it out of his own hand with his leg.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so tough sledding for a rookie quarterback in that type of environment. That is for sure. Matt says Stetson is becoming a fourth quarter QB. Well, I agree with that. We need him to be, right? We need him to be ready to go in the fourth quarter. And I think the Missouri game was a good test for that team to see us come back and bounce back and come back from being behind and win that game. So, yeah, it's going to be tough sledding here going forward for the Dogs, but we are just going to focus on the big V right now, because that's what we need to do. Dad says, never feel sorry for an Auburn football player.
All right, we'll take that piece of advice.
John Akaki says, we're going to need him to play well all 4 quarters in November. Yeah, I totally agree.
Yes,
we're going to need him all 4 quarters, because it's tough sledding going forward. That is for sure. I was looking at some of the stats. I tried to pull up some of our stats. Bennett was 68.8% completion rate. I think it was 22 for 32 attempts at 208 yards. Longest pass was 24 yards, and of course we had 1 sack.
He had the longest run too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, that call by Scott Howard was iconic. I mean, that was it's almost up there with the Larry Munson's calls. I mean, it was just one of those that I'll remember for a long time.
Oh yeah, it was a good one for sure.
Yep, absolutely. What do you think about old Delp getting involved in the game? I mean, he had 3 catches for 29 yards.
Man, I was excited to see that young kid on the field. We need to start playing him more. It looks like they're trying to get all these young guys more play time as the season goes along. They get more experienced. They get more in depth in the offensive scheme of what they're trying to run. They learn more plays. And let's be real, our offensive coordinator is coming from the NFL, so his playbook is probably huge. And so they
Well, buddy, I'm not sure if I lost you or what.
our screen. There it is.
Okay, I thought I lost you.
Yep.
Can you hear me now?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. Well, I didn't hear what you were saying. You said you needed Delp to get involved, and then you cut out.
Yeah, I was just saying we need Delp to get more involved in our offense and get these 3 get all our tight ends involved at the same time. If we could do that, I think that's going to open up a whole new avenue of offense for sure, especially with our a lot of our receivers that are dinged up. I know Blaylock had a good catch in that game too.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So Katie Bennett made the comment we're going to need Stetson for all 4 quarters. And my apologies. When I'm showing if you guys don't know this already, if you go to StreamYard/Facebook and then give Facebook permission to show your information, we'll be able to see your name and face on your comment here. So, yeah, I didn't realize that's who it was. John Akaki had made that mention that Katie was the one that made that comment. So, yep. So Matt says, glad to see Blaylock back on the field. We need AD back for sure. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see AD this week. I think he's going to be held out for a couple more weeks here. I know he tried to make a go of it last week. I think he may have played 1 or 2 snaps, but that was pretty much it. And they got him off the field. But Blaylock has definitely been an impact player for us. We need his experience and his seniority out there on the field, being a leader, that's for sure.
Most definitely.
Yeah, so you were talking about Oscar Delp. I just leaned over to Kerry. We were watching the game, and I said, you put a 19 jersey on that guy, you'll never know the difference. And the very next comment out of the announcer's mouth was, he is a replica of Brock Bowers. And I'm like, yep,
mm-hmm.
I just said that.
Yeah.
And I've been saying that since G-Day. I mean, when we saw him at G-Day and him run over, 2 or 3 defenders during G-Day, I was like, dang, I said, if I didn't know better, I'd think that was Brock Bowers on the field. But
I thought it was to begin with, and I was like, no, that's not him. He's wearing number 4.
Yep, absolutely. Well, answer me this. I know we hadn't talked about it, but answer me this. The running woes that Georgia has faced this season where we couldn't get anything going, is that a product of who's carrying the rock, or is that a product of our offensive line?
I think it's been a product of both. I honestly do. I think it's been a product of both. I think the offensive line has stepped up their efforts in practice to develop those holes that the running backs can get through. I think that our running backs that we've been starting have not been dynamic enough to shoot the gaps when they're there. They sit there and try to wait for something else to unfold, and it's just blow through the hole that's there, And I think that's showing. Hey, Mr. Khaki.
There you are.
What's up, fella?
Golly.
Yeah. I think we're doing the right thing, is putting all our backs in there now, is and opening up our run game to some guys that let's get real. These two guys, Dejon and Branson, are some big dudes.
Mm-hmm.
Big dudes carrying the rock.
Yep. What's your thoughts on that, Mr. Khaki? Is the product of our running woes? Is it a product of who was carrying the rock, or our offensive line?
I'm not sure I know the answer to that. The offensive line has taken a little bit of, they had to digest a little bit of maybe disrespect by the media and even the fans. So I think they decided to get the job done and assert themselves. And I think the running backs benefit by that. I see those guys really being very physical. And so the running lanes are more open, longer, which will result in better running.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought the offensive line did a better job this week. I mean, you didn't see the backs get hit until 5 yards down the field. That was when the first time they were touched. So that's what you got to have. You got to give them an opportunity for those one-on-one misses. And I felt really confident that we've made some improvements on our offensive line. It's obvious that Stacey Searles and Kirby have gone back and challenged that offensive line to step it up, right?
From what I've seen, there's less penetration these last couple of weeks. There was a lot of people in our backfield, and I don't know if that's a result of us having a lot of skilled players on the line of scrimmage doing too many things behind the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. And teams got wise to that and said, okay, we're going to stack up on the line of scrimmage and we're going to penetrate and cause you problems, because that's how you're going to run your offense. Yep. I think we've had to adapt to that and change. And we probably will change again before the season's over.
Totally agree. Let's catch some comments here. Dad says if Stetson could overthrow people, Georgia would have 2 more touchdowns. Couldn't overthrow people. I got you. Yeah, totally agree. Matt says Robinson has quick feet and Edwards just don't quit. Love the O-line pushes more than anything. Yeah, that one, who was that was running the ball? Was that Kenny McIntosh that was running the ball, and they pushed him down the field another 10 yards?
Yeah, it was him and Dejon Edwards. They did it to him too. It was several times they did that in the game where the running back was running and they had stopped him, and the O-line come up behind them and hit him and pushed him on down for another 5 or 10 yards. Love seeing that. That gets you fired up.
Hunter Ivy's response is a good one here. And I think McIntosh and even Milton were dancing too much at the line of scrimmage, and Edwards and Robinson are going to penetrate that line of scrimmage and then look for a place to run to.
Yes, sir.
It's a whole different style of running from all 4 of those running backs.
Totally agree. Yeah, we've been saying that a lot about Kendall Milton. I like the kid, but he stutters too much, and sometimes you just got to hit it and then look for a place to go, just like you said. And you're seeing that from Edwards and Robinson. And I hate to say it, Kendall Milton might have lost his number 2 spot after Robinson come in there and showed out this week. That's for dang sure.
We evidently got a commitment from a San Diego running back, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, I saw that too. That's one that we've been after for a while. I think he would have committed to UCLA.
Yeah, another Robinson, by the way.
Yep.
Backed out on his commitment. So, yeah, that's going to be huge.
I'd like for us to flip back Veron Haynes' son from Alabama. I'd like for us to get him flipped back.
Yeah, that was the biggest shocker, I think, of the recruiting season for me, is seeing him commit to Alabama. If any place for him to go, I didn't expect it to be Alabama.
You know, a lot of people were disappointed with Stetson's accuracy, and overthrows and all that. And I think we've discussed it a little bit. We kind of tag teamed each other back and forth. Missouri was an extremely physical game for us. And I think Stetson was banged up.
Yep,
And
you said that last week.
Yeah, I think he's better now. And, game time speed is different than practice speed when you're trying to rehab yourself. I think we'll see Stetson back to his old self. At least I believe that to be true.
Yeah, we just don't have the deep threat, do we? Are we miss? Is it because of McConkey's hurt, or is it because of just the AD Mitchell being out, or Arian Smith?
Arian Smith's out. AD Mitchell's out. McConkey's had a bad foot. Stetson was banged up. I heard from people in Pierce County, which is down there in Blackshear, that he got hurt in the Florida game and he's had a nagging shoulder. I don't think it requires surgery, but I don't know what happened to that shoulder.
Right. Well, I'll be honest. I at some point on Saturday, I said, well, if Stetson's not able to throw the deep ball, why not try somebody else? But you take that experience of being able to read the defenses and the leadership that he provides, and I heard it this week from one of the players. He specifically said Stetson is always going to be Stetson, whether he makes a touchdown throw, a touchdown run, or throws an interception. He's even keel and steady, and the rest of the offense feeds off of him. That he's steady and he doesn't get too high, and he doesn't get too low, and that speaks volumes of the leadership that he brings to the team, I believe. Well, guys,
it looked like they were. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brian.
No, you're fine.
I was just saying, it looked like to me, and I'm no expert, but it just felt like they've been trying to do way too much. They get that mindset of I must make this pass. I've got to hit this guy going down the field instead of just letting the natural progression take hold. Because if you go back and watch, Stetson is like, look, and he do about 5 looks on the field and nothing there, and he tried to rush something and make something happen in the first half. And in the second half, he just kind of trusted his mechanics, went through, did what he did last year, especially toward the end of the year, and everything just started clicking and falling in place.
Mm-hmm.
He might be guilty of trying to make everybody happy with one ball.
Yeah,
right.
That is for sure. I mean, they're asking him to spread the ball around a whole lot, and that
we
gets
got
hard
a lot
to
of talented players, the more than we've ever had in the
I
history
agree.
of Georgia football. We've got an unbelievable depth on the offense, receivers and tight ends.
Yep, totally agree. Well, I don't want to belabor here. I want to make sure that I show this video. It was talking to, I know this is one of your favorite players, John, Xavier Truss. They interviewed him and another offensive lineman this week, and they asked him why the offensive line was performing to the level that they were, and all of the questions kind of entailed around that. So I put together a compilation for us to watch. So I hope you guys enjoy this one with Xavier Truss.
Just everybody doing their part and understanding the part that they play. And I think it also helps having a lot of talented players all over the field. Obviously that helps. And just especially having, the brains that Todd Monken has, Coach Monk up there calling the plays and running it, and, steady quarterback, and just everybody knowing their part and playing their part.
Physicality, that's always been our MO. So, we just work towards that every day, to uphold the standard and keep it going.
We have a great O-line, and I think that helps, especially having, Stetson back there. And just, like I said, just having everybody around me doing their part. And if I can continue to do my part, that's all that matters to me.
Yeah, I just feel like the team, we were connected last year, but, I just feel like this year more people are, take on bigger roles, so it forces, older players to connect with the younger players just because, you need them to step up at this point in time. So, just being able to connect with them, learn more about them, where they're from and all this of who they are and learn their why and just, keep the boat float.
So I love Coach Smart. First off, let me get that out of the way. Love Coach Smart to death. But like you said, you can text him. He's very personal with individual players, and that's something I've noticed over the past 4 years is just how personal he can be. But at the same time, once we get into practice, he can flip that switch, and if he needs to light a fire under you, he can do that. And at the end of the day, I think that helps the overall camaraderie of the team and everybody. So I think he's just a great mentor, great coach, and a great person overall.
I just feel like Coach Kirby does a great job with, conditioning us throughout the week, so when the game comes, we're always prepared, all 4 quarters, 60 minutes, or however long it takes, so that's always been our mindset, from the beginning of the season until this point. So we just try and keep it going, keep pushing ourselves to the limit every week to, be the best in shape team we can be.
That kind of surprised me about Xavier Truss is saying that he loves Coach Smart and loves the fact that he's very personable, that you can text him and talk to him. I think we get the gruff, rough, tough, shut you down in one comment, Coach Smart and all the press conferences that you get to watch with him. I mean, he doesn't give up a whole lot. And for him to take on that role of being personable and almost like a mentor to these guys, it's a little surprised me just a little bit. I expected more of the rough, gruff mentality for him. So it's kind of cool to hear that aspect of the relationship that he has with his players.
It almost is as if it's a father-son relationship.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yep. Pretty cool. I figured you guys would enjoy that. Let's catch some comments before we move on to the Vanderbilt game. Hunter Ivy says that recent running back flip from UCLA, I'm extremely excited about. Yeah, we are too, buddy.
Yeah.
And then Dad says he did throw it deep some. I guess he's talking about Stetson. He could have completed 2 passes, but he overthrew them. I think they were so open he just missed them. And Matt says, I still feel that Mack is number 1 running back and Edwards and Robertson are number 2. I agree with that.
I would agree with that. Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, let's get into the Vanderbilt game. What do you say? Let's run that trailer.
I think homecoming is special for everybody. It gives you an opportunity to remember your time being here, and it means so much to so many to come back to Athens. It brings back more alumni than any other game, and that means a lot to a lot of people.
We're coming a power set behind the line, and we run a guy right up the middle, driving down to the goal line. Thomas Brown, touchdown.
All kinds of time to throw, going deep. He's going for Godwin. Godwin is there, over the shoulder catch at the 30, down to the 20, down to the 15, down to the 10. They tried to strip the ball. He stays on his feet.
Green, another stop, and look, and there's a man wide open. Touchdown, the tight end, Big Pope.
Here's Gurley, left tackle. Gurley to the 45, Gurley to the 40. Shakes, jumps again. He jumped over another tackler, down to the 30, down to the 25-yard line.
Guys, we get to experience another game between the hedges. Got to be one of the most exciting things to me is to be at homecoming between the hedges, and I really enjoy going to those games and being able to participate in all the festivities and see the old players come back and old cheerleaders and see the members of the Red Coat Band come back and play. That is a lot of fun, and we've definitely missed that the past few COVID years where they weren't able to do that. But I'm so glad to have those times back and feel like things are back to our norm. So obviously Clark Lee is the head coach there. He played a few years at Vanderbilt as a fullback. I found it interesting. I was able to find out what everybody made as a head coach, and they don't have his pay posted. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But as you see, there's his career from coaching at UCLA all the way up to the present at Vanderbilt.
Kirby's was on with Scott Howard for an hour before our show. And he mentioned about Clark and Clark being the defensive coordinator when the Dogs played home and away with Notre Dame.
Right.
And he said he is an excellent coach.
Yeah. And I get that from him, and he's very confident, and he instills that confidence into his players. And I don't know the backstory, and maybe you can share some, John, if you know. But the deal with Mike Wright, he was at SEC Media Days as going to be the starting quarterback for Vanderbilt, and he plays 2 games, and then they pull him and replace him with the quarterback they have now. Of course, we'll go over all that, but
Kirby mentioned that the 2 of them are Georgia guys.
Mm-hmm.
They evaluated both of those Vandy quarterbacks. They have dissimilar skills, so they're going to utilize both quarterbacks.
Gotcha.
To do different things.
I got you. Well, in this portion of the show, we always go over the mascots for each school. You guys remember this guy right here, right? This is Mr. T. Well, this is Mr. C. Mr. C. Mr. C is Mr. Commodore, is what his name is. This is his original costume. It's pretty rough. I don't know if he's whistling Dixie or what he's doing there. Then you got this old guy. He's Mr. C, and then they replaced him with who we have now. I think this outfit is much a little better fitting for the team. So I just thought you guys like those little few photos of the prior mascots. So I pulled some of the past 3 losses for Vanderbilt. They lost to Wake Forest 45-25. And then, of course, they got blitzed by Alabama 55-3. And then last week, which was kind of interesting to me, at the half, they're leading Ole Miss 20-17, and then they let Ole Miss score, 21 unanswered points in the third quarter, which that was the ultimate demise of the team. They couldn't come back after that, but they put up a fight, which was a little bit surprising for Vanderbilt against a highly ranked Ole Miss team. Did anybody get a chance to watch that game or take anything away from it?
Matt Peak and I were flipping over to that game, and Peak was cheering Vanderbilt on quite vigorously, and we were having a good time. And then they let Ole Miss come back and just run them through the mud. But for a little while there, I thought there was a chance that they could make it a game.
Yep, absolutely. So my question about the salaries on Mr. Lee here, he says that private colleges don't have to post salaries. Gotcha. And then Hunter Ivy says that's who John needs to be for Halloween is Mr. C.
Which John is that? It can't be me.
Yeah, it would be you. You need to dress up as Mr. C.
I'm gonna go to Nashville and visit George Vanderbilt.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. Let's see. So let's get into a few of the offensive players. So obviously this is going to be a starting quarterback. It's A.J. Swann. Got 848 yards already on the season, 8 TDs, 72 QBR rating. I pulled up his completion rating. Let's see, so far he's at 62.7% completion rating. So that's pretty decent for a quarterback there in the SEC. I don't think he has any interceptions. I think he may have 1 sack, which is pretty interesting as well. These are 2 top receivers that you're going to see out of Vanderbilt, Will Shepard and Jade Mcgowan. They're the ones that are getting the bulk of the carries, bulk of the receptions. Will Shepard is 6'3", 200 pounds from Manaville, Louisiana. And then Jade Mcgowan is a freshman. He's 5'8", 177 pounds, which is kind of short for a top receiver in the SEC. But he's out of Lawrence, South Carolina. Both averaging right at 13 yards per reception. And then that's about all I could find on the offense that I really wanted to talk about. I think the largest offensive line was 303 or 308. Wasn't that what it was, Kevin?
Yeah.
So This is the kicker, Joseph Belovas. He's got 38 points on the season, which obviously will tell you that they kick a lot of field goals.
If you recall, they lost their best offensive lineman to Alabama, and he's playing over there now.
Okay. I forgot about that. I do remember hearing that. Kevin, you want to hit on some of these defensive guys?
Yeah, before we move on, I was going to hit Matt's comment there. He said their QB looked good, and the running backs ran strong. The turnovers cost them in the third quarter, and that's true. It did. It did bad.
Gotcha.
Can't win with a bunch of turnovers. But yeah, we'll hit on these defensive players. I picked out a couple to put on the little watch list for everybody to keep their eye on. The first is linebacker number 0, and Fernay Orji is how you say his last name. He's 6'2", 230. He's a senior linebacker, and he's got 61 tackles on this year with 1 touchdown. It was a turnover, I believe, in the Hawaii game. He picked up the ball and ran it in for a touchdown. This guy, he drops back into coverage. He rushes the passer. He basically does it all. I went back and kind of watched last week's highlight reel against Ole Miss. This kid was all over the field. So he's got a high motor. So just expect him to be a little disruptive at the line. The second guy is Dereki White. Oh, you got Christian James. We can move on to him if you want. Dereki White, he's a junior linebacker, number 43, 6'4", 230. He's got 25 tackles on the year, 3 interceptions. He's another good linebacker that drops back and can rush the passer as well. It seems like their strong suit is their linebacking core. It was really hard to find somebody on the line to pick out, and that was the guy before. It was Christian James, number 91. He's 6'4", 275. He's a senior. If you watch, he kind of bounces through the line. He about plays every position. It was real hard to just kind of narrow him down to one position. He has 16 tackles on the year, 1 sack. He's not really a shifty defensive lineman that you would see rolling off and getting penetration, but he never gives up on the ball. If you see, he's always if the running back gets by the line, he's downfield to help with the tackle. So he's got a high motor, and he never gives up on the ball. So just watch for him as well. And the third guy is a safety, Maxwell Worship. This guy is probably the best player in the backfield that they've got. He's got 33 tackles. He's got 1 forced fumble. So when we're attacking down the field, we probably want to stick to the corners. I kind of watched some of the highlights of the Alabama game, and that's what they did. They just picked on the corners all day long, and I think that's why his tackles are so high. He had to come over and help these guys bring these receivers down. So if we can kind of attack those corners and stay away from the middle of the field, because this is where these linebackers and this safety like to hang out. We should run the score up, kind of like basically what Alabama did. Hopefully Stet is healthy and he can throw the ball with accuracy down the field.
Cool beans, man. Cool beans. Well, I know, I don't think there's any doubt that we're going to win the game, right? But what's some things that you guys would like to see out of this game that you think will translate and move us forward and get us ready for the next gauntlet that we're up against with Florida and Tennessee and Kentucky going down the line here.
I'll
John, I'll let
respond.
you take it.
Go for it.
We have 5 sacks on the year. I don't think we've even heard Robert Beal's name called. I know we've heard Nolan Smith's a couple times. But I think Vandy's going to have to throw a lot, and I think we need to see something out of our guys, Beal and Smith, and our defensive tackles in relation to tackles for loss and sacks. I think they need to get unhinged and get loose and get going.
Do you think that's because Jalen Carter's not in there and you're not having to have 2 linemen blocking him, or you just think it's that we're just missing something?
Well, we've certainly fallen off from the talent last year, and this is a whole new team. But these guys have played 6 games now on their own, so it's their time, and I think they need to assert themselves and show out in this game. We can't wait till Tennessee.
I totally agree.
Or Florida, for that matter. Florida's going to be a tough game.
I agree. Kevin?
I agree with John. I think there's something missing. If you see when the linebackers come through to flush the quarterback out, last year we had a flush man, and he would flush him into another linebacker, and that linebacker would cream him. This year we're missing that, and it was typically Nolan Smith would do the flushing, and somebody be there to lay the wood. N'Kobe Dean was always there to bring the hammer. So I think that's what they're missing in that aspect. I think that's something that we can work on. I'd like to see them to continue to work on the run game as well, because it is something that just showed up last week, in my opinion. So let's continue to work on it.
I agree. Yeah, N'Kobe Dean had an innate ability of knowing exactly what time to hit those gaps, right? He never hit it. It seemed like he never hit it too early, and he never hit it too late. He just knew exactly where the ball was going and what was going to take place, and that's something that experience gives you. You can't just to learn that by watching film, right? So,
yep.
We're definitely missing that piece, but. We've got some leaders on the team. I mean, Jamon Dumas Johnson, I mean, he doesn't mind getting in anybody's face, right?
He doesn't. Not whatsoever. And he's been a big one that's been blasting through the line and causing. And that was going to be one of my points. You didn't do it this week, but, it was going to be the game ball thing and who was your key offensive and defensive player. I was going to touch on the whole defensive line there because they kind of kept that quarterback under wraps. They flushed him out of the pocket. We didn't have a single sack, but they flush him and keep him on edge where he couldn't ever set his feet or make a big play or just gash us for a big loss. I think we only had one play where they gave up that big pass for a touchdown, and that was really missed tackles on the corners and safeties. They should have had him down. That shouldn't have been a touchdown. So, yeah. Go ahead.
So that's your game ball, huh?
Yeah.
That's his defensive dominance. He's looking for more turnovers and more sacks. Yeah, I agree with you. Let's see. Matthew Judd says Williams has missed 3 sacks this year. Got to get that tackling out in the backfield. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Totally agree. Well, let's move on forward here. We got about 15 minutes left. Let's get into our games of the week. So our key matchups this week. I want to talk about this Penn State and Michigan matchup. John, I know we're going to be shooting from hip here, so I'm going to take Kevin first to give you an opportunity to think about it. What's your thoughts on this game there, Kevin?
All right. Penn State and Michigan. Penn State, they've had 2 pretty good-sized games. They went to Auburn to play them. We know how that one turned out, 41-12. And they played Purdue, which that was a close game, 35-31. Michigan has not had a big game, in my opinion. The biggest game they've had is against Iowa, and they barely beat them 27-14. I think this is going to be their biggest test Penn State's coming to play them, but I don't think that's really going to phase Penn State. I think that they have proven that they can go and play in a hostile environment when they went and played down in Auburn. So I've got also Michigan is favored in this game by 7. Yeah, you're rolling them through down there. I've got Penn State winning this one 36-27.
Wow. John, what you think about this game?
Do we get to take the points here? Is that how this thing goes, these predictions?
Sure.
Well, I'm taking Penn State in the 7 points.
I like it. I like it. I don't think Penn State's going to win it, but I think they're going to cover.
Yeah, I think that's the way I see it.
Yep. I agree. Let's see who we got next on this one. Let's see, Auburn and Ole Miss. Now, Kevin, you picked this game, and you're going to tell me why you chose this game for us to talk about.
All right. The reason I picked this game, I think Ole Miss is severely overrated. I don't think they have the team that everybody thinks they do. I think that this is where it's going to show up. I think that this is the game that is going to decide Brian Harson's future. And I think they're going to come up there, and I am predicting Auburn is going to have the upset because if Ashford can expose the defense like I think he can, because that kid was all over the field with us, I think that they're going to come up with an upset win in a close one, 27-24.
Wow. What you think about this one there, John?
Well, Ole Miss is given 15. I'm still taking Ole Miss. So they start in the hole -15. I think they win by 30.
Yeah, I agree. I don't. It's going to be hard for Robbie Ashford to go back to back in hostile environments. I mean, it's tough to play there.
Well, don't forget what Georgia just did to them physically.
That's exactly right.
Physically.
That's exactly. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. Totally agree.
I mean, other side, Tulsa scored 27 points on Ole Miss, so I'm just putting that out there. Tulsa.
Now, you can change your pick after you've made it already. If you have reservations, come back.
I'm going. No. Tulsa scored 27 points on Ole Miss.
So Hunter Ivy, I missed his comment. He said Penn State's been hit or miss. Their QB can play horrible at times. If he plays well, they win. If he doesn't, they lose. He's picking Penn State by 7. Matthew Judd, he says Ole Miss is going to win this one. I agree. And Dad says poor old Auburn, they ain't going to beat Ole Miss.
That's
Hunter
right.
Ivy says Ole Miss game will be a blowout. Ole Miss by 35. Yeah, for some reason Ole Miss's offense is clicking, and I think they take care of Auburn easily. They're not going to fire Harsin before the end of the year. They don't want to pay that buyout. Plus, I mean, even if they fire him in the middle of the year, it's not going to change their recruiting. It's in the tank. So, all right. Next game is Mississippi State and Kentucky. All right, Kevin, you picked this one, so tell us again what's your thoughts on this game?
All right. I think this is going to be a fun game because I've been looking. They say Will Levis is going to be back for this game. That's why I picked this game. So you got two similar style quarterbacks playing, and I think it's going to be a quarterback duel. It's going to be fun to watch because of that. That's why I picked this game. That's what's going to make this game fun. I think that if Will Levis is healthy and Kentucky can pick themselves up after that ugly, ugly loss to South Carolina. How they lost that one, I don't know, but they did. I think if they could pick themselves up, they could squeak out a win against Mississippi State because they are playing this game at Kentucky, and that's the thing that's going to help them. They got Mississippi State favored by 4. I was going to give Kentucky a close win by 4, 28-24.
Wow.
Now, I read that as Kentucky's giving Mississippi State 4 to start the
Yes.
game, according to the spread, but I'm still taking Mississippi State without points. I think they're one of the hottest teams in the league, but looking ahead, Alabama plays Tennessee, then they got LSU, then they got Mississippi State, and we better thank Alabama for getting Mississippi State before we get them after the Tennessee game, because they will be a little shot out and beaten up. So they play Kentucky, and then they'll eventually play Alabama, and that'll be our benefit when we go to Starkville. But in this game, I'm taking State.
Yep. Yeah, I'm going to take State too, because everything that I'm reading is Will Levis is not going to play. That's their that's the difference in their offense, is him being on the field. And when you depend on one player to make the difference in your team, you're in trouble. Let's see. Hunter Ivy says, "Oh, we already got him. I clicked the wrong comment. Mississippi State is on fire. Both teams' defense will play well, but offensively, Mississippi State gets the edge. Mississippi State by 17." Dad says if Kentucky has a healthy QB, then they have a chance, but they will not win. Yeah, I don't think they have a healthy QB. Last I heard, he was still questionable whether he was going to play or not. State for the win. No leadership on UK. Yeah, I'm taking Mississippi State. I think they easily win this one by 2 touchdowns. I know they're playing at Kroger Field, but they can scream blue and white all they want to the entire game. It's not going to change anything. If they don't have Will Levis, they just don't have the leadership they need to win that game. So, well, before we get our next introduce our next game, this is the one I've been looking forward to for a long time. Want to make sure that we send this one out right. Get the discussion going well with a good old nod to Vol Nation.
Hey, what's up, Vol Nation? So I thought I'd release a little sneak peek. Yeah, I got Smokey on my chest. After Saturday, then Bama fans will lay to rest. Now, let me release some of this heat. Hey, Bama fans, take a seat. Fearful Sag here with the do-rag in K-Town. It's about to go down in the AC5. After this game, you will not survive. Bama, go ahead and retire while you alive. Tennessee about to drop the hammer on Bama. It will be like they was dragged to the slammer. Yeah, they awful at ugly Crimson. You should be locked up in a prison. Looks as dumb as Homer Simpson. That ugly fat elephant isn't really irrelevant. It took Saban giving away them Dodge Chargers, but in your mind, the real OG was the Artful Dodger. Condredge Holloway slayed on the field like a beast. Now Hooker gonna annihilate and you win the East, because he's the real new OG of the SEC East. Hey, you know why? 'Cause we the real beast.
I'm talking about right there.
Where did you find that clown?
Somebody posted it on Facebook, and I saw it today, and then John Akaki reposted it, and I said, "Oh, I'm using that tonight. Get ready." That's some Tennessee inbred going on there. Let me tell you. Interesting.
That's good stuff.
What's your prediction on this one, John? What you got for
Alabama?
Alabama?
I've heard that Dolly Parton may be the guest picker on College Game Day, so she's going to part the ways. I'm going to go with the Tide, and I'm going to tell you my rationale.
All right.
They have pissed Alabama off enough already. And Will Anderson and that other defensive tackle, I think they are going to really go and really put it on Tennessee. I'll be very surprised if Tennessee wins this game. I think the Tide by 10.
I like it. Well, we know Bryce Young is going to play. That's the reason he didn't play last week. He's definitely going to be in this game. They know they got to have him.
I add, we want Alabama to beat on them really good
Oh, sure.
When we were in our bye week, they played Tennessee Martin. Then they play Kentucky at home. And then they come to our house. So we want them to be beaten down, beaten up real good in these next 2 weeks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Alabama's going to bring their A game. That's for dang sure. And it's going to be an offensive shootout, I believe. I look forward to be a high-scoring game on both sides of the ball, but I think Alabama wins it. I think they may win it by a touchdown. I think it's going to be like 45 to maybe 38, 45-38, something like that.
I mean, Tennessee's the real deal, but their defense has given up 500 total yards 3 times this year.
Yep.
It's not like they're going to stop Alabama.
And I can't say I'm not going to pull for Tennessee this week. I can't say that at all because I definitely am. I'd love to see anybody beat Alabama, but I just don't think it's going to happen for Tennessee this year. What do you got, Kevin?
I think this one's going to be just an offensive shootout. I don't think that either team has a dynamic defense. You got a couple players here and there. You got Will Anderson for the Tide, but I think it's going to be an offensive battle. It's going to come down to all 4 quarters. But I do have the Tide in a win by a touchdown, 48-41.
Yep, I agree with that. Let's catch some comments here. Daddy says, "Where did I find that guy rapping?" And then Hunter Ivy says, "Is that Eminem from a Wish?" Something like that. Let's see. Dad says Alabama's going to win 41-24. Matt Peak says the Trailer Park MC.
This show just got upgraded. I'm telling you what. We're going to be syndicated soon.
Oh, my gosh. I just had to use that. It was so funny. I laughed all day about that. Let's see. Matt says offensive game, high points and high points, but think Bama will win. Okay, so I guess he's saying it's going to be high points against high points. Tennessee could win it if Bama turns the ball over 2 times. Yeah, I just don't see that happening with Bryce Young playing. I mean, he's going to know where the ball needs to go. He's going to take care of the ball unless Tennessee can get very, very lucky and force some turnovers. You're not going to see the goof ups that A&M had. I mean, Alabama turned the ball over 4 times against A&M, and they still couldn't beat Alabama. So that says a lot to me about the team that A&M has.
By the way, Bryce Young has had this same, I think it's an AC sprain. It's slight. He's had it about 4 times in his life already.
Yep. So I listened to Jake Fromm talk about it a little bit today on his podcast, and he said that he had one when he played in high school. And he said that, basically, you shoot it up with some Toradol or cortisone and get out there and play. He said it's uncomfortable. He said, but if you don't do that, it feels like every time you throw the ball, it feels like a knife stabbing into your shoulder. So he said even if he is 80% better, they'll still give him the cortisone shot. But he'll still be uncomfortable. So, but obviously an 80% Bryce Young is going to be better than what they had last week with that backup.
Hey, if Tennessee loses, what new condiment do we see thrown onto the field?
No, ain't that the truth? Matt says player of the game will be the officials. That's probably the truth. Hunter Ivy says a shootout. Bama defense is a little better. High scoring. Tennessee wins 52-49. Now, Hunter, he used some reverse psychology last week, and I don't remember what games he was, but I think he ended up calling them right. So kudos to him on these reverse psychology calls. Hopefully he's right on this. Hopefully he is right. For the game of the week, guys. Dogs versus Vandy. What you got, Kevin?
All right. I think this one is going to be what Vegas thinks it's going to be because everybody is saying that they are not going to cover. And I honestly think they will. I think this is where Georgia has gone back, found where it started the season. It found it last week in the second half. They come out from the beginning, firing on all cylinders, and they run the score up from the beginning. I think by the fourth quarter, you don't see Stetson Bennett in the game. I think that they pull the starters. They give them a break. You see all our second string come in. I think that it's going to be a blowout loss for Vanderbilt. I think you're going to see somewhere around 48-6.
I like that score.
What you think, Mr. Akaki?
That's the one I was going to pick. I was either picking 45 or 48, either 6 or 10. I'm going with Kevin. The exact same score.
I agree. I'm going to stick with that same score as well, and I'm going to tell you why. Georgia still has a sour taste in their mouth about how Vanderbilt screwed us over 2 years ago for our homecoming game. We were going to be at that game. We were going to go to that game. We went up. We camped. We were getting ready to go to the game, and they canceled it the morning of the game. And I can tell you that Kirby still has a sour taste. I don't care who the coach is. It doesn't matter. If the V is on the field, he's going to put the hammer down and make a statement, especially this year, because last year was a statement being up there, but this year for sure, because you're back for our homecoming game, and you should have been here 2 years ago and honored the commitment. No matter who you had with COVID and didn't have with COVID, whatever excuse you could come up with, because you knew you were going to get your butt dragged across the field. But yeah, we definitely take care of business and make it a statement game. That is for sure. Let's see. Dad says 52-7 Georgia. Matt says 42-13 Vandy. Hunter Ivy says UGA will dominate this game from start to finish. UGA rolls 49-6. I like it. I like it. Well, guys, any final thoughts before we jump off this thing? Kevin,
Nope.
You got anything?
I am. I'm excited to go up there and watch this game with one of my favorite dogs, my dad. And it's going to be our little birthday trip since Daddy's birthday is in October too. So we're going to go up there and watch this game together, and it's going to be a good time. Looking forward to it.
John, what you got, buddy?
Let's go dogs. I'm just proud of my dogs. And just for the audience, however many people are still on, the complete shaving of the three Musketeers is still in play.
Hey, I'm down, man. I'm telling you, if we win another natty, I'll take it all off. I'll go live that night with razor in hand, my friend.
You don't have to do that. We just
I will. I will. I'm a man of my word. I promise you.
All right.
I promise you. All right, guys, let's send this thing out right. So, hey, we're going to be back next week. Obviously talking about a big win for the Dogs, shutting out the Vanderbilt Mr. C's.
Next week you could analyze the Alabama game.
That's right. We might. Hey, but we'll be back. As always, hopefully Mr. Matt will be back with us. We'll have the four-finger wonder. Thank you for John Akaki filling in for Matt tonight. And I'm Brian, John Akaki, Kevin. Go Dogs.
Go Dogs.